Welcome back. It's another episode of the Dope Swag Money League, the online dynasty. And today we've got number 1 Penn State taking on number 2 BYU. Obviously, we'd love for this to have been a matchup that took place later in the season, like at the national championship level. But regardless, when you've got 2 undefeated teams and we've run the gauntlet like we have within this league, you're going to run into each other at some point as number 1 and number 2. And today, one of us is probably going to get eliminated, or at least make it very difficult for the other one to climb back into the national championship picture. And so this is a huge game. It's a tough one on the road for Penn State. Going on the road, playing in BYU's house. And not only that, they're taking on Taysom Hill and Mitchell Juergens, the leading number 1 and number 2 guys in the Heisman Trophy race. Either one of them is probably going to get it. But speaking of awards, Penn State's got guys like Kyle Carter, who just caught the touchdown there, getting Penn State on the board early. But there is Juergens with the reception from Taysom Hill. The Cougars moving right down the field, not phased at all. And Taysom Hill showing his skills, running the ball with his legs. Penn State in this contest is without starting running back Akeel Lynch. They're without their starting star wide receiver, Deshaun Hamilton, and they're also without their stud offensive lineman, Angelo Mangiero, the center. And so 3 key pieces are not in the lineup for Penn State. But on defense, it doesn't matter whether they've got the starters in, the backups, the All-Americans. Mitchell Juergens is hauling that one in, and that's an easy touchdown on the rollout by Taysom Hill, finding a throwing lane using half the field. Penn State tries to respond on their next possession. Christian Hackenberg going 6 for 6 to start the game. Looked like he had Geno Lewis wide open down the seam, was unable to complete that one, even though he dropped it in. Those are some big catches that have to be made in a game like this. Every little catch, every little drop is amplified. And so Penn State ends up having to punt. BYU, while Taysom Hill is a threat to throw and Mitchell Juergens is obviously a threat to catch it and run, BYU really focused on running the ball early on here. Now you see with a minute left in the first quarter, Taysom Hill rolling out, not looking to scramble though, just looking to set up those throwing lanes. Completes the pass, picks up the first down. Colby Pearson, 27-yard pickup. On 2nd and 7, now Taysom Hill rolling around, still finding an opening, dropping it into Juergens once again. Triple covered, and it doesn't matter. And Taysom Hill, it doesn't matter how many guys you throw at him. Out of the Wildcat formation, and later out of some funky formation with no tight ends, only a couple of offensive linemen on either side of the center, trying to confuse Penn State, but they come out and defend it well. But then on 3rd down, they go back to the running game and they get stuffed inside, brings up a 4th down. BYU's forced to kick a field goal, something they're probably not used to doing a whole lot this year. We've seen them put up some huge amount of points, especially against Idaho, putting up like 90 points. So a 10-7 contest for both of these teams after the first quarter, or at least this stage in the game, is pretty rare to see. And while Penn State is without Akeel Lynch, their backup halfback, Mr. Allen, picking up some big yards. But it leads to a 3rd and 2. Can Penn State pick it up? They do. Geno Lewis redeems himself for that drop earlier in the game. It's a touchdown for the Nittany Lions, and they're up 14-10. Taysom Hill on the next drive rolls out with pressure in his face. He throws an interception. Penn State has momentum, and they're rolling right along. Godwin goes in motion. He takes the handoff. He has some blocks. He gets downfield with the first down. Tries to put the stop juke on, not the shiftiest of guys. Doesn't get the big game, but Kyle Carter is able to pick up a big chunk of yards. Hackenberg is looking incredibly sharp early on, not picking out any guys that aren't open. Instead, he's threading the needle well, dropping it in. And then whenever he's not, they're handing it off. Maybe BYU wasn't expecting that with Akeel Lynch out. But you know they're not going to give up, even though they're down 21-10. Coming out, Taysom Hill handed it off and then followed by a play action. Look at the speed. It's just impossible to contain a guy like that. Going to have some quicker guys on the edge. Luckily, we won't have to deal with this for a whole lot longer in the online dynasty. He's not like he's a freshman or sophomore, but he cannot leave fast enough, that's for sure. And with that speed, he could probably leave as fast as he wanted to or as soon as he wanted to. Moving the Cougars right back down the field, and then with a little bit of a power running game, lowering the shoulder, picking up a couple yards. with a minute left. It brings up a 3rd and 6. This is a crucial drive. The pass there to the outside, a nice juke. Picks up a 1st down. It's 1st and goal. Clock's ticking down. 35 seconds to go. Hill with the carry. Not going to hand it off. Going to try to run it in himself. And then on 2nd and goal, a nice call. A little swing pass to the outside. Sort of a halfway screen. But either way, he was open and gets the touchdown. And it's a big pickup for BYU to be able to shrink that lead down to 4. They get the ball to start the 3rd quarter. And this is going to be a big stop that Penn State's going to have to come up with after having that lead, the 11-point lead there, to then give up the touchdown and to not be able to come up with a stop here would be tough. Taysom Hill rolls out and he throws it deep, and you know who he's got. It's Mitchell Juergens. There's no mistake why this guy is one of the top 2 in the Heisman race. Talking about Juergens, with over 2,000 yards receiving, I believe, you just cannot stop him. Coming across the field on the slants, on the drags, and then whenever he improvises and turns it upfield to go deep, almost impossible to stop. And Taysom Hill's doing his best not to make any mistakes. And then on the ground, he finally busts through himself. 85 rushing yards so far for BYU. That's not a bad performance by Penn State so far to hold them to that few of yards at this point in the 2nd half even. So just under 3 minutes now. Hill rolling out again. And despite the madness, despite the coverage, which was pretty decent, BYU is looking to build on this 3-point lead that they have right now, 31-28. Now 1st and 10, and it's a wide open Colby Pearson. You saw him earlier on the 27-yard pickup here with 14 yards and a touchdown. And suddenly the 11-point lead by Penn State just before halftime is now a 10-point deficit. How quickly the tide has turned. But the Nittany Lions are not giving up. Tompkins hauls it in from Hackenberg with a minute left in the 3rd now. Oh, but a poor throw. Christian Hackenberg, he finally made his first big mistake of the game. Throw it into the zone coverage. He's intercepted. A 10-point deficit. And BYU with the ball, that spells disaster, right? Well, as long as the defense steps up. Trevor Williams, the corner, steps up and stops the scramble, gets the sack. On 2nd 18, a deep throw down the field, and that one's intercepted by Williams, coming up and making a play downfield as well. Trying to capitalize is Penn State. Kyle Carter, the seam route by the tight end, the senior tight end, with the big completion. A couple plays later, though, he tries to force it in, does Hackenberg, and it's an interception. He had him beat deep, but for some reason Hackenberg just couldn't get enough on the throw to lob it over the top. I think he could have made that catch, Carter, if Hackenberg threw it in the right place. But it's water under the bridge right now. Penn State having to move ahead, trying to play defense, leaning on that defense. And they're able to a little bit there, forcing the field goal, trying to keep this a 2-score game. The Cougars, oh, they can't get the field goal in. Did not see that coming. You don't see a whole lot of user miss field goal attempts. But Penn State with the ball again. This time it's Irvin Charles. The pass and completion from Hackenberg. It's the same route, the same defense. If they're going to give it to you, you got to take it. And then on 2nd and goal, oh my goodness. Hackenberg, what a horrible throw. He had a guy wide open. All he had to do was throw it a little bit higher with a little more touch, and he would have had the touchdown. BYU's held, though. Now with just over 4 minutes to go, punting to Penn State. Geno Lewis fields it from just on his side of the field. He's got some blockers. Going to try to do the smart thing and just get down near the 30-yard line. Hackenberg trying to lead the team down. 2nd and 1 from about the 20. Moves a little bit to his right. He's got Lewis, and he's got the touchdown. Penn State has not given up just yet. We've got ourselves a 3-point contest with 3:40 to go. BYU is going to depend on that ground game now, and Penn State has to come up with a stop on defense. So far this year in these close games, that's been the big difference. Obviously, it's taken a score to win these close games, but in every game for Penn State, their defense has come up with a stop in these crucial situations, and so it's important for them to do it now. And Taysom Hill is the difference maker, though. Nobody else has had a Taysom Hill on their team, a guy that can just take the ball and run with it. And so, unfortunately for Penn State, they've got a minute 40. Time is not on their side. They're down by 10, trying to drive down the field. Hackenberg's got him down there quickly. A minute 20 to go. It's 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. He scrambles out to the right side. He pulls up, throws it. Oh, that was a tough, tight throw. Godwin hauls it in. He had a little bit of body positioning. And then on 1st and goal, Geno Lewis hauls it in for the 2-yard touchdown. That leads to a minute left with no timeouts left. Penn State with the onside kick. One chance. to come back. Oh, and it just doesn't quite travel down the line where Penn State needed it to. And a well-earned victory by BYU. Tip your hat to the Cougars. That's not a fun loss to take for us, but if you're going to lose, I guess at least lose to an undefeated number 2, an incredibly skilled player in that game. So just a crazy showdown. Definitely a letdown to lose, but the season's not over. Anything can happen. If we can win this last game, we've got one more against Baylor. I suppose there is a chance. Crazier things have happened that we could work our way back into the national championship picture. It was pretty crazy to see Penn State at number 1, to get those 10 victories, to be 10-0. You can't complain with that. And then to finish within 3 points of a highly skilled opponent like that on the road, missing those 3 starters. You just got to tip your hat, like I said, to BYU, to Taysom Hill, to Mitchell Juergens. Just a fun game all around. It always sucks to lose, but at the same time, you got to be able to take the loss whenever it comes. And so we're not going away. We're going to keep pressing forward. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Check back soon. We've got more coming your way. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, comment, or share below, and subscribe if you haven't. And next time you're shopping online at Amazon or eBay, use the links I've provided in the description below to help support my channel. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.